All righty. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of G.T.E Pro Network Podcast. I'm your host, Ed Peterson. I know I said I was going to be here at 2 o'clock today, but I'm sorry. I had a busy schedule with the kids at school. We're doing career day for them as the graduates graduating high school students, that is. We wanted to kind of give them some insights as to what they can do to grow and to start their careers as entrepreneurs. And we have an internship program that we do here at Global Touch Enterprise. Again, we're a web design and marketing company based out of Houston, Texas. And I have my special guest today, Miss Crystal Gomez. So I'm super excited to have her. I met her through another business partner of mine, and I was intrigued by what she does and how she's into technology too, like everybody else. I love people that's in the technology. So I thought I'd have her on my podcast today to talk about her company, her business, and to share with us about exactly what got her started and what is she doing right now in the marketplace that's going to be impactful to the community that she serves. And that's what it's really all about, ladies and gentlemen. As servant leaders, our role is to make sure that we help others as we help ourselves. And it's a people PHP effect, which I call people helping people, and making sure that we roll out exactly what's relevant for them for their growth. And that's what's most important to me, ladies and gentlemen. It's all about growth. Nothing matters other than that. And at this point in stage today, we're going to continue to help educate our people, our young people, that is, so that way they can have the tools that they need to build. And becoming wise master builders is the key. So, Ms. Gomez, how are you today?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing super fantastic. So I'm really glad that you got a chance to come on my podcast here. And I wanted to get our audience and listeners to a little bit about your company. How did you get started, and why come up with the name that you came up with?
Oh, thank you. I am Crystal Gomez, small business technology strategist and digital literacy educator. And I've been an entrepreneur for quite a while, and I'm known to be quite the networker. So I attend 2 to 7 events a day, Ed. And in doing so, I've met so many people and integrated technology into my personal business in order to manage just the sheer amount of people that I meet and be able to effectively follow up with them in order to, of course, close business.
Right. Exactly. And now that's good. So when did you get started, and what made you come onto this side of the platform?
Well, my small business technology strategy consulting firm is a startup and it was launched in November of last year. I previously was a trainer for a large tech company and helping spread their brand message and teach people how to use their different products. And in being in business for myself, I finally saw the opportunity to bring that knowledge to small business owners because many people that I encountered along the way, thought the technology that I was utilizing was cool and they wanted to know more about it. So
Mhm.
after, several years of getting reactions such as when I shared my digital business card, people would say, wow, that's cool. I want to get one. What is
Mhm.
that? I've been meaning to do that. Wait a minute. What did you just do to my phone? Oh, that's too much work.
Mhm.
So you get all the different emotions and reactions to it until I finally decided to make it an actual business to really help my fellow entrepreneurs scale their businesses using technology by, implementing processes and systems to help them get things done efficiently without, somebody has to do it, but that doesn't mean it's you.
Wow, that is impactful. Great. Well, that's what it's really all about. And you saw a need in the marketplace that was necessary, and you wanted to fill it. And by what you've already learned as an expert in digital technology, and so now when people see it, they're like, "Oh yeah, that is cool." I get the same reaction too when I'm doing web design and marketing, and I'm sharing with them some ideas and tools and tips in reference to how to grow and build their network. And so that's what it's really all about. And I'm really excited for you that you just started on this journey as an entrepreneur and that you have already impacted some customers and clients of yours who are looking forward to it. So, what is the website where people can go to check you out to get more information?
It is crystalgomez.net. That's CrystalGomez.net right there on the screen below.
There you go. Right. Okay, Miss Gomez. Right. CrystalGomez.net. And basically, you do a lot of consulting with them too, as well, I know, and helping them understand exactly what's necessary and what's needed. So, what is the main thing that most customers of yours go through or have a question about when it comes to their businesses and this and trying to get out there in the marketplace?
Many businesses aren't necessarily utilizing a CRM, so it's important that they understand what a CRM can do for them. As a small business, technology in general can make us look just like a large business. When someone goes to your website, they don't know if you're one person, a whole team of people, or a corporation of people if you've done it right.
Mhm.
The CRM allows you to take those leads that you've captured and effectively communicate with them and track your progress. Whether you need to follow up with someone, what was the last conversation you had with them, what was the last email you sent, phone call, text message, or even snail mail. You can track it all in
Right.
your CRM. Also, from your CRM, you can, send them the invoice for your services. So,
Right.
your CRM is your one stop shop from which you can communicate with not just your customers, but your potential customers and your colleagues.
Right, exactly. And that's really important that you share that because that's what I be sharing with a lot of my clients as well. And they're like, hey, what do you mean the CRM? Well, you want to basically retain your client's information, the customer's information, so that way you can send out information again to them, and then they can basically see exactly what it is you're doing. You want to keep them in the loop of your business. That's going to keep you relevant in the marketplace. And the more you can never have too much exposure, but your goal is to get as much exposure as you can. And word of mouth advertising, ladies and gentlemen, still works today. So don't forget that part. That is one of the other key factors you can do along with that. But capturing data, getting information, getting feedback from your customers is relevant and more important to have. So you want to do that on a consistent daily basis when you're out there interacting with people. So also too, Ms. Gomez, what is another tip that you would think that a client, especially startup small businesses, would need when they getting started out there in the marketplace, if they have just a brick and mortar location but don't have an online presence?
So, as a brick and mortar location, you can utilize several tools. I would recommend that you have a QR code on site that can do many things. So, a QR code can do whatever you want it to do, it's just the conduit to take your guests to where you want them to go. So, perhaps
Mhm.
you want them to leave a review for your business. So, you can
Right.
ask them, scan this QR code and please leave a review to let us know how we did. You can use the same QR code to take them to a menu of your services. These days, a lot of businesses are paperless, so they use QR codes for menus, they use the QR code for payment, and
Hmm.
you also can use the QR code to show people what else you do besides, there may be more that you do than what they are there for on that day. So when I referred to menu initially, I was referring to a restaurant, but all
Yeah.
should have a menu of their products and services. So you can utilize that in different ways on site. Perhaps you're hiring, so you can have a QR code that links to that job description and to the application where they can fill that out. And you can utilize that QR code across your social media as well and in different places.
Yeah, I think that's mostly important too because as I begin to share with a lot of the business owners about campaigns that they need to run, this is one of the questions that I get. And it's unfortunate that if they take the time to really study their market, understand the industry that they're in, and then understanding what people want, need, and can afford, they'll be all right in reference to that. But a lot of them have, I've seen, and I know you have too, a lot of companies are out of touch and out of date with a lot of the stuff that they need, especially when it comes to building their systems. And my suggestion to everybody is you're going to need a unique system that you're going to have in place that's going to be custom to your business and how you interact with your people on a daily basis. And having a system save yourself time, energy, and money, and it gives us an opportunity to collapse time frames and make sure that we get the information out as quickly and as promptly as possible when it comes to the customer's needs, wants, or what they can afford. So also too in the marketplace, I noticed that I know a lot of startups come. Do you handle a lot of different startup companies that get together and want to start their businesses?
Yes, absolutely. Startups are actually my passion because they have a clean slate that we can begin to strategize and implement, from the beginning.
Right.
Let's do it right the first time. If, such as myself, I've actually been in business for a while, and a lot of the technologies I had not implemented for myself either. So I had to go back and change my way of doing things.
Right.
Um, so if you're a new business, then you can start, it's actually easier to start from scratch than to retrain somebody. But if you're willing, we can always, you can always reinvent yourself. So if you've been
Right.
in business for a while and you haven't yet integrated the technology, it's definitely not too late to do so. You can reach out to someone such as myself
Mm-hmm.
or my colleague here with Global Touch Enterprises, or someone that you know that can help you get all of the necessary technology in place.
Yeah.
As you mentioned earlier, word of mouth is still viable, but what happens when you meet somebody? The first thing they ask you, do you have a website? Do you have social media? Well, I
Right.
can learn more about you,
Right.
because perhaps you just met them, so you don't have a relationship. So they want to go and learn more about you, and it gives you credibility when you have those things. So if you don't have them in place, then there's nothing for them to look at. And think of your own experience when I love to eat. So let's talk about restaurants again. So
Mm-hmm.
let's say you're looking for a new restaurant to try and you're in a different part of town. If they're not searchable or they have poor reviews, you may not visit them. So that's the same for your business. People are going to look for you and they're going to look for your reviews. And if that information is not there, they're going to skip over you and move to the next. I've been told in meetings with organizations that offer proposals with the government and different business entities. If they go to your website and there's a broken link, etc., then they're skipping over you and they're going to the next person. So it's important that you first have the technology and that you keep it updated.
Right. I agree with you 100%. And I also share with my clients, and especially startups, because I love that too. The basis of my target market is startup companies. And when I'm talking with them, I'm giving them the four stages of business that they're going to need to pay attention to, which they have the formulation stage, the concentration stage, your momentum stage, and then you have a stability stage. But when you're first getting started, you're in your formulation stage. So you don't know anything yet. You're learning as you earn. And I always share with people you want to be a student of your field, a student of your industry until you master what gets your customers in the door, what keeps them going, and what keeps them getting you repeat business. Repetitiveness is the key. Having repeat businesses is good. And like I share with them, it's good to start that way. And coming up with a brand name, a logo, a website, and making sure your content is tight. You want to make sure that it's consistent, though. And then you want to understand about the five P's of marketing, which is all about the people, the product, the price, the place, and the promotion. The more you stay focused on that, you come out better. And your promotion should be done on a consistent basis. How are we promoting the business? How are we sending the information out? And also, are we collecting the data? Are we gathering information at the same time? So we can understand the needs of the people, the wants of the people, and then what they can afford. And once we understand these three steps, these things, this helps us to formulate a system in our business where we can continue to generate that on a regular basis. And websites is key. And I hear there's a lot of people that say, "Well, maybe I don't think I need a website." Well, think again. You're going to need it because people are going to ask you that question. Like you said, Ms. Gomez, do you have a website? Do you have social media? What kind of presence do you have today? And if you don't have any presence, then you're going to lose out on those customers. And that's money that you could be generating on a regular, consistent basis. And so, what do you do with Ms. Gomez when you have clients that don't have a website or that don't have any online presence or footprint there? What would you give them?
Well, first of all, I encourage you to do so. And you don't have to be the one to build it. You know, there are people out there that will do that for you if that's not your area of expertise. As a matter of fact, I can build a site, but I have a team that does it. So, that's not necessarily what I do. My job is to go out and get more business for my business.
Mm-hmm.
It's not necessarily for me to be the one to post and create the content.
Right, right. So you stand in your own lane, is what you're saying.
Yes,
Right.
yes,
And that's what
yes.
business owners need to also understand that they have to stay in their own lane. You can't be an expert in everything. You can't do everything. You're not an island. You're going to need support. You're going to need a team in place to help you put it together. And if you don't have a team, then you want to get some internships or people that you can get to help you build it. And that's going to give you some insights more than what you can do all by yourself. And then you're going to be on a. Well, I ask people this question too, Ms. Gomez. Do you want to build your business fast or slow?
Yes,
All right,
please.
everybody said fast. Yeah, I want to build it fast. So fast it is then. So let's work on that and let's get the thing in proper position so that way you can drive this race car versus you driving an old beat up Pinto that ain't going nowhere.
We had one of those when I was a child.
So you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So right, so we used to talk about that car, old Pinto. But anyway, that's just one of the things that I'm really excited, Ms. Gomez. I'm glad you are part of our tech world and industry because again, it gives us an opportunity to reach more people. And I've been doing web design and marketing for the past 17 plus years, and the technology just keeps evolving. I was sharing with the young people today at the high school that I was at, at college with the high school students, in reference to how technology has evolved in the last 20, 30, 40, 50 years. And before my time, that's when technology was really getting started in the 1950s and moving on to the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and 90s, and on here we are, 2025. So it's just going to keep evolving with or without us. So you might as well get used to it and start learning about it so that you can see how it can help your business grow and you can collapse your time frame and you don't have to spend a whole lot of time trying to get to that wheel. We always say that hamster wheel. You're going to keep spinning until you get nowhere. And this is what we do, Ms. Gomez, when it comes to that. So also, too, I want to ask, so how do you, what kind of platform do you set your company, startup businesses up with when it comes to getting information on how they need to get started? And what activities do you give them?
Well, when we first sit down with the company, we want to do a full audit of what technologies, hardware, and software they're currently utilizing, if any, and give suggestions based on their need
Mhm.
for what they should be utilizing. And oftentimes, our hardware and our software, we're used to those that are made for consumers, but there's different hardware and software available to you as a small business owner that you may want to take advantage of. For example, the use of a professional branded email.
Mhm.
You have that website, you want that email to match your website and your branding. Of course, my my website is crystalgomez.net, and my emails are a variation at the same domain name. So you know that if my email is info@crystalgomez.net, that crystalgomez.com is my actual website. So if you don't have both pieces of information, you should be able to derive that from just my email address.
Right. And that's what I share with my clients too. I'm glad you said that piece because this is vitally important when it comes to that. Everybody uses the generic free emails. And that's one thing. But I always share with them, you want a business email to match the domain name. Like mine is globaltouchenterprise.net. And my email address is info@globaltouchenterprise.net and edward@globaltouchenterprise.net. So that way they know I'm in business. It's not a generic one where it's free, like at Gmail or at Yahoo or at Hotmail, those extensions. But you want to have it where you're on a business level. If you're serious about building your business, your brand, and it's all about how we brand the name and what about the branding. And so if you want to do it the right way, you want to get that email matching the domain name as well. And this is what I suggest when I'm building websites for my clients. I'm letting them know about the domain name as well as the email attachment of the business email that they can get. And so all of the platforms use Google anyway, Google Workspace. So that's most popular right now. And since Google is $1 trillion company sitting in California, they own all the software to all the Android devices that's being used out here on the cell phones. So it's just common sense, and they do all the analytics. Your website also has that capability now, where not only is it a database, when you fill out forms or people subscribe to your mailing list that you have, now you can get analytics as to how many visitors visited, who visited, and when, and what part of the country they came from that visited your website. So you have all of these tools now at your disposal where you can build your business consecutively and successfully. And so this is one of the things I teach and train Ms. Gomez in reference to that, so that way they can understand that a web design and having a website is important. That's your home base, that's your hub where people are going to go to find out about you. And you want to put your own personal effects into your website. So every site that I design, I'm going by the individual owner and seeing exactly who they are, what they represent, and what their belief systems are, so I can match their websites to that level. And you also want to add videos to it. I always share that too. That's very important. And we have a lot of people we call webmercials, where we can make snippets of commercials on your website where you can share your product or service that you're providing in the marketplace. A lot of people like to be animated or use an avatar, but I'd rather you can use your own real self into this, where people can actually see who's behind the business, who's behind the brand, so that way they can put a face to it. But it's also good to know that when you're building your business, you want to capture all of these tools that you're going to need at your disposal when it does it. And again, AI is important, but automation is the key concept of all of this. And what do I mean by automation? Well, if a person is filling out the form on your website or making a purchase, if you have an e-commerce website, then the automation would automatically reply to that customer and to that buyer in reference and thanking them for the purchase and also thanking them for filling out that form. Now, you're going to get that information, you're going to have that content and data, and then you can follow back up with them on any next promotions. And then you want to follow up with them within a week's time to make sure if you have an e-commerce site and they bought a product from you, what do they think of that product? You got to gather the data. If you do it properly, ladies and gentlemen, you can win big. But if you don't do this and you let it slip by, and now attention spans are shorter now. And we used to say we follow up people within 24 to 48 hours. No. You're going to have to follow up people with 4 to 8 hours. 4 hours to 8 hours. You want to follow up with people. No more than that. And then soon it's going to be 2 to 4 hours. And then every hour you want to follow up with somebody. So these are the things that's happening because we're, again, as I shared before, I say again, ladies and gentlemen, on my podcast every week, is that we are a society of convenience. We are a society of convenience. If it's convenient for us to do it, we're going to do it. If not, we're not going to touch it. And as servant leaders, our goal is to solve the problems of the general public, what's going on in the marketplace. The more problems you solve, the more money you potentially can make. But you have to be out there to solve the problem, you see. And this is why a lot of people are struggling today, because they ain't solving problems. They just trying to get money. Well, you can't put the cart before the horse. You got to serve. And who are you serving? Do you understand your target market? Do you know who they are? What is the age demographics? What are they looking for? What are their behaviors? What are their patterns? You notice that they get this data they collect from us when we're online, when we use our phones. And is your website mobile friendly? Do you have a mobile app with that? These are the tools that we need, ladies and gentlemen, today. And with that, Ms. Gomez, I'm really excited that you got a chance to come on my podcast today and talk about it. And then, yes, you guys can check her out at crystalgomez.net. And then if you're looking for this particular service that's going to be relevant for you, which I know it is, you want to go to her website and you want to check her out. And then if she has a form on her website, you can fill it out. Get the information from her. She can send it out to you. And this is going to help you guys grow. Why try to reinvent the wheel when you don't have to? The information is right here with us. And so we'll be excited to help any and everybody. And we want to be transparent, and we want to be straight to the point with you. So that way you know that you're going to get the full story. We're not going to hold you down with just short information or hold you down with websites. I noticed a lot of clients who came to me and said, Ed, they won't release my website. The last design I had kept it hostage. Well, I don't do that. That's not ethics. That's not good ethics to do that. If you bought the site and you paid for this money amount for the site, it's your site. You have the full access to it, front and back office of it, and you are the admin for it. And so if you need assistance, this is why I do marketing campaigns, and I charge a monthly fee for that, to do the marketing campaigns, to do your SEOs, which is search engine optimizations, your SEMs, search engine marketing through Yahoo, Google, and Bing, and also making sure that you're on a Google listing and that your company is mapped properly. Since Google just did a mass update of Google Maps in May of this year, now everybody can be listed, which also shows your website information where they can click from the map your website. How about that? So new technologies, as it continues to evolve, this is where we come into play. You ain't going to be studying all this stuff because that's not for you to do. That's why you get people like us to help you, to guide you on the right path to success and then on the right path to growth. Because you're going to need to use these tools to build your business properly, especially on the internet, especially online today. So, so Ms. Gomez, is there any, let me ask you this question, and then we can wrap it up in a minute. But what is the challenges that you see companies come through when you talk to them that they're having when it comes to their business, with starting and building
it? Failure to use technology.
Right? That is exactly what it is. You said 100% correct. And why do you think that is?
I was actually told by someone this morning that it's habits, and I do believe it's habits. And we have our own habits and thoughts and fears and pet peeves as an individual and as a consumer, but that does not transform into you being a business owner. You have to develop new habits and do what business owners do. So you have to first learn what should you be doing as a business owner. And if you don't understand it and are fearful of it or feel that it's out of your lane, that's okay. Just learn, just get someone like us to help walk you through that process, because whatever it is you do, you're good at it. Don't you don't have to spend your time trying to figure this out. We're gonna walk you through it, because whatever you're good at, we probably don't know that either. So if we come to you for your goods and services, we come to you for your expertise, and no one expects you to know everything. That's not a good use of your time. Focus on what you're good at, what your passions are, and allow someone else to help you with those other things that need to get done. You just don't have to be the one doing it.
Right. And that's what building a network is all about. Thank you, Ms. Gomez, for sharing that. And that's what really building a network is really all about. And I share this with a lot of business owners, that it's all about how we build our network. And so if we do that consistently, then we will have a system in place, a team in place that can help us. And those who are are experts in those different arenas can help us grow. And that's what it's really all about. And it's that people take the time to do this. And you can, again, we call co-oping. I don't partner with anybody, but we co-op. Co-oping is the term to use today. And let me give you an example of what co-oping is real quick, ladies and gentlemen. Co-oping is basically, if you go to a Shell gas station, you see a Burger King, a Taco Bell, a McDonald's, or something in there, right? That's co-oping. That's McDonald's Corporation with Shell Gas Corporation, basically under one umbrella, sharing the same resources. Because when you get gas, you can also get food. That's co-oping. But Shell can't tell McDonald's what to do about their business, and McDonald's can't tell Shell what to do about their business. You see what I'm saying? That's co-oping. That's been around since the 1980s, believe it or not. That's how old these systems are. What works, ladies and gentlemen, let it work. Let it be for you. Don't get it twisted, and don't be misled in thinking that you have to do all these no. There are systems in place. This is all about what technology is for. During the pandemic, the teachers there was no classes. We couldn't get out. The teachers used Zoom. Zoom got very popular during 2020. Thus, video messaging and videoing has been the most popular thing since this time. Notice you can make money on these things now. So, when you have podcasts, and on my YouTube channel, I'm on TikTok and Fanbase, which is the Black-owned one by Isaac Hayes III, social media platform out of Atlanta, Georgia. So you can draw and make money on content. Being a content creator pays. Yes. And if you like to blog, which most companies and most people do in blogging, you can do that too. You can blog on somebody else's website and also generate income from that as well. So there's a lot of opportunities here, ladies and gentlemen, that you can tap into. So, but stay in your lane, be a student, learn as you earn, and keep growing. Keep expanding your mindset. Keep expanding what's possible for your business. And the more you stay focused there, ladies and gentlemen, the better you come out. And with that, Ms. Gomez, I'm really excited that you came on board for my podcast today. We're going to have to have you back on, though, so we can talk further and more about the opportunities that we can give in the marketplace to these startup companies and even existing businesses that I still see is still using the same old wheel. It's time to change the tire, people. That tire isn't worn out. No more threads on that tire. It's time to change it. So we need to do that. So with that, I want to thank you all for tuning in for this edition of G.T.E Professional Network Podcast. Again, I'm your host, Ed Peterson. And Crystal Gomez, any last remarks that you want to share with my general public, a reference to their business and what they can do, and make sure they can connect with you on any of the services that you're providing right now, that they can look you up?
Yes, thank you for having me today, Ed, on the Global Touch Enterprises Pro Network podcast. I encourage you to reach out to me. There's no charge for a consultation to see if we're a right fit for your business. And you can go to crystalgomez.net and you can call us, you can email us, or you can fill out the form to receive our newsletter.
Okay, well, thank you. Well, okay, ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of our show. We want to thank you all again for this edition of GTE Professional Network Podcast. And again, next week, we actually have my workshop this Saturday from 10 a.m. to noon on Saturday. And then Tuesday, we're going to be talking about more tools and tips that's going to give you guys some insights to that. So check out my website at globaltouchenterprise.net. And you can also check out my YouTube channel at Edward Peterson Jr. That's my YouTube channel extension that you can do after you go to youtube.com/at Edward Peterson Jr. You can go there, you can check me out, and I'll be happy to reply. And like I said, just subscribe and like my channel because we're going to be sharing more information. This is free. I'm not charging anybody for this, no, because I want you guys to be on point. Today, we need to stick together now more than ever as business owners, as entrepreneurs, so we can all grow together. That's what it's really all about. People helping people. The PHP effect works. So with that, you guys have a great day and keep building your dream.